In the Hudson Valley, New York, during the American Revolutionary War in 1781, a soldier named Ichabod Crane faces off against a strange horseman. The rider bears a mysterious mark on his hand, shaped like a bow. In a fierce sword fight, Crane manages to behead the rider, but not before being wounded himself. He barely makes it home before collapsing, believing his life is over. But somehow, 200 years later, against all reason, Ichabod awakens. He claws his way out of a grave made of stone, confused and disoriented. Wandering through a thick forest, he eventually finds himself on a modern highway leading to a quiet little town, Sleepy Hollow. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Abby Mills is wrapping up her last shift on the police force. She responds to a call from a local stable where horses are acting up. Officers assume it's just coyotes causing trouble. Expecting a simple call, they arrive ready to handle things quickly, but are met with horror. The stable owner has been decapitated, and someone else is still lurking nearby. Abby's former partner, the sheriff, orders the figure to step into the light. That command costs him his life. The dark figure steps forward and swiftly takes off his head. Abby stays hidden but gets a clear look at the attacker. To her shock, the rider has no head. Elsewhere, Officer Andy Brooks hears the emergency call and turns around, only to find a strange man standing in the middle of the road, Ichabod Crane. He's arrested and brought in for questioning. To determine his identity, they hook him up to a polygraph. Crane tells the truth. He was a soldier under George Washington and remembers killing a marked horseman just before blacking out. The officers inform him that 250 years have passed. Naturally, no one believes his story. Captain Irving, the police chief, orders that he be taken to a psychiatric hospital. Abby is tasked with the transport, and she takes the chance to speak with Crane. He doesn't seem crazy to her. In fact, he seems completely sane. She's desperate to know more about the headless horseman who murdered her partner. During the drive, Crane is captivated by the sights of the modern world. As they pass a church, he sees a familiar face, a priest from his past, but says nothing. He leads Abby to the cave where he had been buried for centuries. Inside, he finds an old Bible placed there with him. He believes it holds clues to explain what's happening now and how to stop it. Later that night, the same priest locks up the church after a sermon. Before he can leave, the headless horseman returns, wielding a flaming axe. The priest, too, is decapitated. Abby finds Crane near the scene. When Captain Irving sees him again, he gives Abby a choice: get the man to the psychiatric hospital or lose her job. Crane later escapes, led by a mysterious bird to an old tombstone. Upon closer inspection, he realizes it belongs to his wife, Katrina, who, it turns out, was a real witch. Abby finally delivers Crane to the psychiatric ward. There, she opens up about her own past. Years ago, she and her sister Jenny saw something terrifying in the woods. When they told the adults, no one believed them. Jenny was sent away to a mental institution and never came back out. At the facility, the doctors view Crane as an extreme case. They begin rough and outdated treatments, convinced he's delusional and dangerous. While unconscious, Crane sees Katrina in a dream. She gives him a warning: there are no human remains beneath her tombstone. Instead, the skull of the headless horseman lies buried there. That skull is the secret to his return. If the horseman rises again, the other three riders of the apocalypse will follow, and the end of the world will begin. Shaken by this vision, Abby changes her mind and helps Crane escape from the psychiatric facility. As they flee, Crane tells her about the dream, Katrina's message, and the skull hidden near the church grounds. They rush to the gravesite, and Abby calls Andy, asking him to alert all available units and head to the church. But instead of following orders, Andy decides to go alone, hoping to be the hero. He searches the priest's private chambers. In one room, he comes face to face with the headless horseman. Realizing he won't survive the encounter, Andy makes a desperate choice: betrayal. He tells the rider where to find Crane. Meanwhile, Abby and Crane uncover a container buried underground. Inside is the horseman's skull. But just as they retrieve it, the rider attacks. Crane fights him off, giving Abby a chance to escape and call for help. She runs outside and spots Andy. Unaware of his betrayal, she rushes toward him. Pretending to protect her, Andy locks Abby in the trunk of his car. But she breaks free and knocks him out. Another police unit arrives at the church just in time to witness a terrifying scene. The horsemen, axe raised, ready to strike down the witnesses. They're saved by the sunrise. The horseman fears daylight and disappears into the shadows. Captain Irving is furious at Abby for going against orders, but when he sees the severed head of the horseman, he realizes Crane may be their only hope. Andy is thrown in a jail cell. The goal is to interrogate him and learn why he turned on his team. But before anyone can ask a single question, a demon from the other side reaches him first. Later, the officers find Andy's body with his neck grotesquely twisted. That night, Crane dreams of Katrina again. She tells him the truth. His mission is to stop the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse before they bring ruin to the world. But first, he must face a darker threat, a powerful witch who will rise beneath a blood moon. But Andy's story doesn't end with death. In the morgue, he stirs, reanimates, and violently snaps his neck back into place. The same demon from the jail cell appears before him. It forces a strange pendant from Andy's mouth and gives him a task: use it to set her free. Obeying the creature's command, Andy travels to an old monument made of stone. From deep beneath a stone monument, something horrifying rises: a burned, skeletal witch who once perished during the Inquisition. Andy promises her that her return is near. All they need are the ashes of her enemies' descendants. And those descendants are found quickly. On a dark, empty road, Andy stops a car. The driver, Jeremy Ferd, has no idea he's the great-great-grandson of the judge who once condemned the witch. His ignorance doesn't save him. Andy ends his life, and Jeremy's body crumbles into ash. Meanwhile, Crane and Abby need access to hidden records. Crane reveals a secret underground tunnel. He breaks through a wall and leads Abby into the dark passageways below. Along the way, they pass the bones of long-dead witches buried during the Inquisition. At the same time, Andy arrives at a quiet home on the edge of town. He's now after Kyle, the adopted son of Jeremy Ferd. Back in the archive, Crane and Abby discover that the judge who sentenced the witch was indeed named Ferd. Now everything makes sense. They need to protect the remaining family members. At the Ferd home, strange sounds echo through the house. Young Kyle investigates. His terrified scream cuts through the silence just as Crane and Abby burst through the door. Kyle is unharmed. The witch spares him. He's adopted and not related by blood. But she takes the urn that holds Jeremy's ashes. Crane realizes the situation is urgent. The blood moon has risen. Once full, it will give the witch enough power to return completely. Andy, now a servant of dark forces, digs up the witch's bones. Before Crane's eyes, she begins a dark ritual. Chanting fills the air, and the witch rises from the grave. Crane doesn't hesitate. He hurls a torch into a barrel of gunpowder, triggering a huge explosion. The witch barely has time to breathe before she's reduced to ash once again. But something darker is coming. Abby starts to suffer disturbing nightmares. In her dreams, Crane becomes a monster and attacks her. Another figure appears too, a doctor who once examined Abby and her sister Jenny, back when no one believed their story. Later that same day, the doctor is found on a rooftop, demanding to speak to Abby. Abby rushes to her. She climbs onto the ledge, trying to calm her down. The doctor, crying, confesses that Jenny never belonged in a psychiatric ward. It was her mistake, and now she must pay. Abby notices something eerie. The woman's eyes are clouded, white, and empty. Then the doctor jumps. Abby alerts Captain Irving and brings him to the body. But when they arrive, the woman's eyes turn to sand and dissolve. Crane now believes they need to speak with Jenny. She may hold the answers they need. He insists on going alone. He meets with Jenny and tells her that everything she saw was real. She was never crazy. Abby then admits that Jenny wasn't the only witness. Another man also saw the creature, but he kept silent out of fear. Soon after, police are called to that man's home. Abby and Crane arrive to find the house surrounded. The man has taken his family hostage. He demands to speak to Abby alone. When she enters, she sees his eyes, white and glassy, just like the doctor's. He confesses that he betrayed Jenny and should have spoken up. Now it's too late. Before taking his own life, he leaves Abby with a chilling warning: "Your time will come too. The Sandman will come for you the moment you fall asleep." Crane realizes the enemy they face is no ordinary spirit. They dig through legends and ancient tales until they find the name, Rollercoaster, a mythical demon that hunts people in their dreams. Abby takes Crane to a man named Seamus, a used car dealer rumored to be a shaman. According to legend, he's the only one who can send Abby into the spirit world to face and defeat Rollercoaster. Seamus wants nothing to do with it at first, but finally agrees. He leads them to a hidden chamber and gives Abby a special drink to open the path between worlds. Crane refuses to let her go alone, so he drinks too. With the help of a scorpion, Seamus guides them into the realm of shadows, a valley of death where Rollercoaster waits. Once there, Abby and Crane are separated. She is forced into a spiritual trial, reliving her deepest guilt, the moment she turned her back on Jenny and stayed silent. The demon prepares to destroy her. Just in time, Crane finds her and stands between her and the creature. Abby finally speaks the truth aloud. She admits her guilt, her silence, her fear. That is the key. The demon turns to glass and shatters into 1,000 shining fragments. The nightmare is over. All Abby wants now is to speak with her sister, to ask for forgiveness. But when she arrives at the psychiatric hospital, something chilling is waiting for her. Abby finally learns where her sister is. After years apart, the two reunite at the sheriff's house. But their first meeting is far from peaceful. Old arguments resurface, and tensions rise quickly. It takes Crane's calm presence to bring them back down. After a painful conversation, the sisters agree to set their differences aside and work together. While searching the house, Abby finds something unexpected, a sextant. It's strange, since the sheriff never mentioned owning one. Crane immediately notices the carvings and ancient symbols on the device. He senses it's more than it appears. Turning it over in his hands, he unlocks its secret. It's not just a tool for navigation, it's a hidden projector designed to hide important information. Once activated, the sextant reveals a glowing map of Sleepy Hollow on the wall. With it, they can track down the location of a mysterious chest. But before Crane can study the map, gunshots ring out outside. They manage to escape unharmed, but the attackers steal the sextant. In their rush, they leave one of their own behind. Crane examines the captured man and finds a tattoo, marking him as part of the Hessian Order, the same secret group the Headless Horseman once belonged to. During the interrogation, the man reveals the truth. The Hessians are searching for a book of dark magic, one capable of summoning 72 powerful demons. Before he can say more, the man bites down on a cyanide capsule and dies instantly. Racing against time, the group returns to their research. Crane removes a painting from the wall and tries to recreate the map from memory, hoping to locate the book's hiding place. Unfortunately, the Hessian cult reaches it first. They break into the secret chamber, take the book, and begin the summoning ritual. A portal to hell opens. Fire and darkness erupt into the room. Abby and Jenny arrive just in time. A fierce fight begins. Abby grabs the book, slams it shut, and throws it into the flames, closing the portal before the demons can break through. Far away in the forest, a young girl walks calmly between the trees. From the shadows, a boy watches her. Curious, he steps forward. She smiles and invites him to play. The boy happily follows, only to fall into a trap. A monstrous horseman bursts from the woods and chases him through the dense trees. Hours later, Abby receives an alert over the radio. A child has been found unconscious just outside town. She and Crane rush to the scene. Crane examines the boy, Thomas, and notices dark veins under his skin. It's a clear sign of the plague. Thomas is moved to a quarantine zone. But there's a problem. He speaks only in Old English, and Crane is the only one who can understand him. Together, Crane and Abby return to the forest to search for clues. They follow strange markings carved into trees, which lead them down a hidden path. That path takes them to an island, home to a forgotten colony once destroyed by plague. After speaking with the surviving settlers, Crane uncovers the truth. Centuries ago, the colony was cursed by the Horsemen of Pestilence. Most of the people died, but a few escaped to Sleepy Hollow, and there, they stopped the Horsemen. But now, dark forces have tricked Thomas into leaving the colony. By doing so, he has unleashed the plague once more. If they don't return him soon, the entire world could face extinction. No hospital will release a child carrying such a deadly disease. And things grow worse. Crane begins to show the same dark veins. He's infected and placed in quarantine with the boy. As the illness spreads, Crane has a vision of the afterlife. There, he sees Katrina, who tells him the truth. If he's seeing her, his time is running out. But Abby refuses to lose hope. She prays for guidance and gets a sign. The only cure lies in Roanoke, the forgotten town where the boy was born. Captain Irving is doubtful at first, but when he sees the plague spreading fast, he agrees. He allows Abby to take Crane and Thomas out of quarantine, promising to free the others too if their plan succeeds. The group pushes through the forest. The sickness is draining Crane and Thomas, and the horseman of pestilence is catching up. They must reach the sacred well in time. Right before the horseman arrives, Crane dives into the water with Thomas. Instantly, everything changes. The horseman turns to dust, and the infected begin to heal. The dark veins vanish. Their minds return. With the danger over, Crane gives Thomas back to his people. They fade into the mist, ghosts all along, tied to the cursed town. Back in the modern world, Crane is trying to adapt. He finds an unexpected love: baseball. He enjoys the noise, the shouting, and the freedom to yell without shame. But after one game, he seeks quiet. He visits Katrina's grave, not realizing someone is watching him. Alone, he's struck with a tranquilizer dart. Katrina reaches out to Abby in a dream. She warns that Crane has been taken. The only way to save him and destroy the horseman is to find the Sin Eater. Abby rushes to Captain Irving. She reminds him of the horseman and begs for help. They must find this mysterious man before time runs out. Meanwhile, Crane wakes in the lair of the Freemasons. He is one of them and must remember how it began. Centuries ago, Crane, then a British officer, was ordered to interrogate Arthur Bernard, a spy. That's when he met Katrina, who begged him not to harm Arthur. Torn between duty and love, Crane chose Katrina. Elsewhere, Abby and Jenny are desperately searching for the Sin Eater. Just when they're about to give up, a small clue leads them to an elderly man, Henry Parrish. He wants nothing to do with them, but Abby convinces him, without his help, death will win. She explains that Crane and the horseman are bound by blood. Only the Sin Eater can break that link. Henry reluctantly agrees. Back in the past, Crane defied orders and spared Arthur's life. Arthur shared important secrets, but was killed by a demon before escaping. Crane fled, passed Arthur's words to Katrina, and abandoned his red coat. Still, the guilt never left him. A Freemason leader tells Crane they admire him, but they must sacrifice him to destroy the bond. Following Parrish's directions, Abby and Jenny find a secret door. Guards try to stop them, but Abby's determination pushes them through. Crane tells Abby he's ready to die. If he drinks the poison, the horseman dies too. Abby insists there must be another way, but Crane goes through with it. He drinks. Yet death doesn't come. He wakes to Abby's voice, and Henry's standing over him. The Sin Eater begins the ritual. He summons Arthur's spirit, giving Crane the chance to face his deepest guilt. The room trembles, reality shifts, and when it's over, Crane is finally freed. Crane realizes the magical link between him and the Headless Horseman has been broken. He heads to a Masonic meeting, only to discover a horrifying scene. All the members have been beheaded. Shortly after, Abby arrives and can already sense, just by looking from the street, that Crane is about to face the horseman once again. But this time, the horseman doesn't fight. Instead, his dark horse arrives and quickly carries him off into the night. Captain Irving shows up at the crime scene. The horseman has taken all the severed heads with him, making the mystery even harder to solve. While searching the house, Crane finds an old Masonic book that holds secrets about the horseman. But the most important pages have been ripped out. Crane starts wondering why the horseman didn't kill him. That's when it clicks. The horseman is looking for something, his own skull. When Abby and Crane ask Irving to retrieve the skull from evidence so they can destroy it, the captain is outraged. But with no better plan, he agrees. He heads to the morgue to get the skull from a forensic specialist. Unfortunately, the Headless Horseman arrives there too, guns blazing. Chaos erupts in the lab. Irving manages to grab the skull and escape just in time. It's his first face-to-face encounter with the horseman, and now he finally believes Abby was right all along. He brings the skull to Abby and Crane. They try to destroy it, but nothing works. A sledgehammer can't crack it. Acid can't melt it. Even explosives leave it untouched. Abby suggests they try using a hydraulic press at a scrapyard. But on the way, they spot a chilling warning left by the horsemen: streetlights made from the skulls of the murdered Masons. They turn to another clue. Abby takes Crane to a museum that holds an ancient manuscript, possibly containing secrets left behind by the Masons. Rather than breaking into the vault, Abby looks for a digital version online. Crane struggles with the technology but eventually figures it out. Now they face a new problem. The manuscript is encrypted, and they need a password to decode it. That's when Abby sees Andy, for the first time since his death. He insists he's only ever tried to protect her. While inspecting the skull, Crane spots something unusual: a word carved into the inside of the teeth, written in an ancient script. It's the password they've been looking for. He runs to tell Abby but finds her talking to Andy. Crane warns the walking corpse to leave them alone forever. Once they unlock the manuscript, the truth is revealed: the horseman can't be killed. The only thing he fears is sunlight. To stop him, they'd need a witch who could turn the moon into the sun. But Abby has another idea. They can use high-powered artificial sunlight instead. Abby, Crane, and Irving set up a trap in an underground tunnel. As night falls, Crane walks out into the open with a fake skull, luring the horseman to the tunnel. Abby pretends to be seriously injured, drawing the horseman into the center of the chamber. At the perfect moment, Irving flips the switch. Bright, artificial sunlight floods the tunnel. Weakened, the horseman is wrapped in chains. Crane says this is the best they can do: keep him locked away forever. But before that, they want to interrogate him. Abby suggests Andy help as a translator. While waiting in Andy's hideout, Crane stumbles upon a book filled with Egyptian hieroglyphs. Suddenly, everything makes sense. The horseman chose Andy as his voice. Andy warns Crane not to go through with the plan, but Crane insists. He opens the chamber door and orders Andy inside. The interrogation begins. As Crane steps closer to the captured horseman, something catches his eye: a pendant. Katrina's pendant, lying right next to the chained enemy. With Andy's help, the horseman confirms that the pendant found in the chamber belonged to Katrina. It's a powerful symbol, and it's said that the voice of death can never be silenced. Crane tells Abby that the pendant was once a gift from Abraham, his closest friend, and at the time, Katrina's fiancé. But Katrina had later admitted that she didn't love Abraham. Her heart had always belonged to Crane. While Crane continues questioning the Headless Horseman, Jenny and Captain Irving launch a mission against a secret enemy base at a power station. Amid the ruins, Jenny discovers unusual mechanical devices. Before she can report back, a sudden blinding flash explodes, and the entire city is plunged into darkness. Even the horseman's chamber loses power. Abby quickly lights candles to stall for time. The prisoner is still chained, but the situation grows tense. Irving commands everyone to gather any weapons they can find. Crane stays behind to watch the horseman's cell. But while he talks with Abby, he doesn't notice that Andy has pulled a dark artifact from his own body, an ancient object used to summon creatures from the underworld. The first wave of demons arrives, crawling in from the shadows. Crane finally sees the artifact, but it's already too late. The horseman breaks free from his chains and attacks. He throws a sword to Crane and demands a fair duel. As they clash, Crane realizes a terrible truth: the horseman is Abraham, his old friend who once loved Katrina. Just as Abraham prepares to strike the final blow, dark spirits intervene. They drag both Abraham and Andy out of the chamber, sparing Crane's life. Later, a wealthy young woman purchases an old mansion on the edge of town. Her bodyguard warns her not to rush the visit, but she insists. While exploring alone, she's trapped by a vine crawling out from a closet. When Abby hears of the disappearance, she doesn't immediately connect it to their work until she sees a note left behind, signed with the name Katrina K. Suddenly, everything makes sense. Abby and Crane visit the estate the woman had toured. Crane recognizes it. He had once been there with Katrina. The first thing they find is the bodyguard, now dead and slumped in a chair. Abby tries calling for help, but there's no signal. Something inside the house is preventing them from leaving. Determined to uncover the truth, Crane searches the library and discovers a letter he once wrote to Katrina, the very day he died. Following the trail of the missing woman, Crane and Abby go into the basement and find her trapped in vines, hidden behind a door. She's terrified and keeps repeating, "The house is alive. It won't let us go." Crane remembers the bravery of the mansion's original owner and believes that by following his courage, they too can escape. He asks the girl about Katrina. She reveals Katrina was the last person to visit before the house was abandoned. By combining the girl's memories with his own, Crane realizes something vital. Katrina and the former master of the house were part of the same magical order. The group tries to escape through narrow tunnels in the basement. During the chaos, Abby gets separated. Alone, she wanders the house until the ghost of a former housemaid appears. The spirit guides Abby to a hidden room and shows her a vision, Katrina giving birth to a child. Crane's son. A healthy baby who never got to meet his father. Eventually, Abby finds Crane and shares what she saw. The revelation shakes him to his core. He longs to know what happened to his child. But before he can react, the young woman screams. A demon has taken her, dragging Crane back into the harsh reality. Crane and Abby race to save her. Once again, Abby sees the spirit of the housemaid, and she understands, it wants to help. The ghost leads them down the same path Katrina once took to escape. They finally reach the outside. They're free at last. But just as they prepare to leave, Crane turns back. He refuses to run. He must confront the force that hurt his family. With fierce determination, he battles the monstrous creature, a tree-like beast born of dark magic. He slices it apart until only broken wood and silence remain. With the danger gone, Crane reaches out to Parrish, hoping the Sin Eater can help him connect with Katrina again. What neither he nor Abby knows, however, is what kind of path Parrish will use to send him into the spirit world. During a haunting ritual, Crane finds himself face to face with his wife. There, Katrina confesses a painful truth. To keep their child safe, she gave him to a pastor's family and never saw him again. Returning to the living world, Crane tells Abby everything. Together, they discover something unexpected. Abby's ancestors were the ones who raised the child. Intrigued, Crane asks the Sin Eater Parrish to help trace what became of his son. Parrish reluctantly agrees. The group digs through the town archives, uncovering documents that date back centuries. Crane learns his son inherited magical powers from Katrina, which led to him being sent to an orphanage. But the orphanage's name remains hidden. Just before the archivist can reveal it, she's killed by mysterious demons. Later, the team discovers a box filled with drawings by the child, Jeremy. Parrish is overwhelmed. He can feel deep pain in every stroke. His visions show a boy who endured terrible suffering. Eventually, after reaching his breaking point, Jeremy created a creature to protect him. That creature is now real, and it's hunting members of the same witches' order that once exiled Katrina. Abby finds an old poster featuring faces from her visions, the next targets. Yet those witches might also be the only ones with the power to bring Katrina back. The group heads to a local fair where the witches are rumored to be gathering. Crane speaks with them privately. He begs for Katrina's freedom and offers his protection in return. But the witches are at peace with their fate. Only Jeremy, their creation's master, could stop the golem, and he is long dead. Parrish suggests that Crane's blood might be enough. Crane agrees to try. Armed with a shard of blood-red mirror, he confronts the golem. He first tries to reason with it, but when that fails, he strikes. In the final moment, he holds the creature's hand and softly says, "Thank you for loving my son." Crane is then pulled into a vision of Moloch, who declares his plan to end the world, and promises Crane will be the one to deliver Abby's soul. Meanwhile, Captain Irving receives a terrifying call. Unless he finds a sacred Bible, his daughter will suffer. He alerts the others and moves his family to safety. On the way, Abby and Crane review old recordings left by the former sheriff. One shows Jenny possessed by a demon. Abby fears that the demon might not have meant Crane, it may have meant her. Irving places his trust in a few loyal men to protect his daughter, unaware they're already under Moloch's control. Even the priest can't stop what follows. Morales, now possessed, breaks a protective barrier and murders his partner. The demon then takes over Macy, Irving's daughter. As Abby searches for a legendary lantern, an ancient weapon against darkness, The priest tries to perform an exorcism. He fails. Macy, still possessed, kills him and demands Irving take her to the Bible. When they reach the archive, the Bible is gone. Just as the demon prepares to kill, Jenny intervenes. Abby and Crane arrive, using salt and the lantern's light to perform a ritual that frees Macy. Afterward, hidden ink is revealed in the Bible. A date appears, 4 days after Washington's recorded death, written in his own hand. At home, Abby is surprised by Andy, who begs for the Bible. He swears loyalty to her and warns that Crane will eventually betray her. Meanwhile, Crane finds more hidden writings that point to a passage between the world of the living and the purgatory realm. With Parrish's help, they dig up a priest's grave to retrieve a blessed rosary. Despite the pain it causes him, Parrish holds on, sensing its importance. Demons attack, but the group fights them off and reaches a remote island. There, in Washington's true tomb, they find a hand-drawn map. Their victory is short-lived. Andy arrives, barely human, and attacks Abby. Parrish steps in, touches Andy, and briefly brings back his humanity. Andy begs Abby to destroy the map. Torn, Crane agrees and burns it, sacrificing Katrina's freedom to stop Moloch. But later that night, in secret, Crane redraws it from memory. Parrish shares a disturbing dream. The invasion will begin tonight. Magic is the only hope. Not all witches were destroyed. Katrina remains. Crane admits he remade the map. The group finds the boundary between worlds. Crane speaks the spell, and he and Abby enter purgatory. Abby wakes up alone, confused. Sheriff Corbin and Andy are there, telling her it was all a dream. But something feels off. The same thing happens to Crane. He believes he's returned home, but something doesn't sit right. He realizes he's still trapped. Both Crane and Abby see through the illusion and continue their mission. They push through a valley of lost souls and finally find Katrina. Crane tells her about the map and pleads with her to escape. But Katrina refuses. If she leaves, Moloch will sense it. Someone must stay behind. Abby steps forward, volunteering to take her place until the second horseman is stopped. Katrina agrees and promises to return for her. Crane and Katrina escape the underworld, but Abby stays behind, ready to face Moloch himself. As a solar eclipse begins, Katrina prepares a ritual to stop the second horseman. Suddenly, Parrish appears. He disarms Katrina and Crane. The truth is revealed. Parrish is Jeremy. He has been hiding in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment. But he hasn't returned for love or forgiveness. He has come for revenge, against the father who, in his eyes, abandoned him to a life of pain and darkness.